to The Conversation with Pat Harvey. In this series, I'll dive into various topics and issues with my guests in a more intimate and unfiltered setting. And my guest today is all about insightful conversations and captivating interviews. He's also about art, culture, personal growth, and fashion. I'm talking about host and media personality, Jamir Smith.
Hey, how
Jamir,
are you?
thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, I'm just going to start off by saying we met at a scholarship ceremony last year, and I was just so taken by you. First of all, just to look at you, I said, wow, that young man, he just dresses impeccably. He's such a fashionista. And at the same time, he just had this amazing personality. And then I found out more about you. You are a radio host, a cultural journalist, and a brand builder. You're very busy, Jamir. So describe what your day looks like, your daily schedule.
That's really? Well, first of all, thank you so much, Pat. Thank you for your heart always. You know, I think as I curate my month, there are things that we always want to make sure that we're doing. And for me, that looks like breaking it down by award seasons, red carpets, festival seasons, and then of course television and award seasons at the end of the year. So right now,
that never ends.
It never ends, and especially living here in LA, right? You know, this month is busy because of all of the screenings that are happening, all of the red carpets that are happening. So my day really just looks like a shot of tea, first and foremost. Let's start there.
Okay.
And then I think really just building on like, who am I talking to on a daily basis, right? So I always want to make sure that the red carpets are done, the notes are done for that, and then of course moving forward. So my day is all over the place. I don't know if there's really one day that looks the same.
Okay, and I know you have a screening this evening, in fact.
I do.
And probably another the next day and the next day after that.
Yeah.
So now you've been called a cultural connector, shaping conversations that matter.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that.
What I've learned earlier on in my career is you have to build the relationships. That is the only thing that ever matters, is the relationships and the experiences. So I came from a fashion executive role, and within that role, I always knew as I was building teams and I was building those conversations, that meant I wanted to align that in the journalism space as well. And so all of the events and experiences that I go to, I want to make sure that I'm building those relationships. So with looking to my left and right, I understand that these are the people that are going to help us grow and build. And that is what it really looks like, right? So, yeah.
Well, it's, you know, tough when you talk about building a brand. And we're gonna talk about more about that later.
Yeah.
But you said as having a fashion background and then journalism spaces. So I want to go all the way back.
Ooh. Do we want to go there, Pat?
Yes, to your early life, because I want to know what shaped your journey. Were you born in North Carolina?
I was originally born in North Carolina,
okay.
Raleigh-Durham, Bull City. I remember my earlier journey was I was putting together magazines, and I think about, and a huge congratulations to Queen Latifah for being inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So Khadijah James, and how she had Flavor magazine. I wanted to put together these stories of celebrities and of experiences. And I just remember being in the 3rd grade and people were looking at me like, what are you doing? And I was just building stories and conversations and experiences. And then fast forward, I was sitting in executive rooms, right? And understanding what does it look like for a person of color to sit in these rooms and really know how to run businesses and understand the business concept on a different magnitude. Go.
But where did that come from? Did it come from your parents? Did it come from teachers? Did it come from community members? Because that, I mean, 3rd grade.
3rd grade.
To do something, as you described, and sort of have an idea of what you want to do, and then go about doing it.
It's like,
That's rare.
It's rare. And I think for me, it came a lot from my family, again, is all from North Carolina. And then, of course, I was the only one that moved to New York and LA and DC. And I believe my aunt was one of those people that she believed in just doing any and everything. So just living out of your wildest fantasies and just go. And so I think it really came from my family, but also just came from imagination. I am a true through and through Pisces. So I am.
When is your birthday?
It was March 5th.
Okay.
So I am that true and true Pisces that we are full dreamers. And so for me, I had the idea of dreaming of standing on red carpets and interviewing celebrities and creating magazines and all of the things. So that's really where it came from. And just watching, I remember being obsessed with Paris because of Josephine Baker.
Oh,
And
okay.
yes, Josephine Baker really was the epitome of what it looked like from a person coming from the States and making it big across seas. So yeah.
No question about that. And you admire somebody else who moved to Paris, but we're going to get to that later too. I
Ooh.
did some research on you.
Good old Andre.
James Baldwin.
And James Baldwin, yeah.
Okay, all right. Then that was from a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yes.
So I know you went to North Carolina A&T.
Absolutely. Hey, shout out to Aggies. Yes. Shout out to, and Kamala Harris was just there. So a shout out to, I mean, A&T is just the epitome of HBCUs. Yes. So yes, all of my Aggies that are watching. Thank
all right.
you.
So,
yeah.
so you had that experience.
Yeah.
And what did you study?
Communications.
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 So that, I'm trying to get to the point where we build the fashion and the communication. We're going to get there.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about what you're doing now. You are the host of the Jamir Smith Show, which is live on Power 97.5 as well as iHeartRadio.
Yes.
Jamir, I know we're learning more about you, but I want to know what makes your show and your brand so unique, because it is.
It is. I learned in 2020, as we were all experiencing life, I realized that there were a lot of our stories that were not being told. And as we went through the pandemic, I wanted to create a platform that I was interviewing a little bit of everyone. I was living in DC at the time, and I realized that we were all reinventing ourselves. We were all just figuring out the figure out. And so for me, I created a platform for senators and writers and directors and
Really?
Yeah, and people just telling their stories, but also moms and creatives and people that just wanted to just talk about how they were feeling right now. And that allowed me to say, everyday people have stories that are not being told.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you do that in DC as
DC,
well.
yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
New York, DC,
Atlanta, and
Atlanta,
now LA.
and I was going to say, what brought you to Los Angeles?
The dreams, right? It was the dreams of what everyone talks about with Los Angeles, right? I've never wanted an actor, but I've always wanted to help tell the stories, right? And I know my dream has always been you are on that pillar of great icons, but the other three are, of course, Oprah, Arsenio, and Gail. And I think Gail King's storytelling is amazing. Oprah's connection with people, and Arsenio's, his enthusiasm, right? And so I knew ultimately I wanted my own show, whether it was a talk show, a night show. I wanted to be able to bring on people that knew how to tell stories, and let's just have a good time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Have you talked to Arsenio?
You know, he has a new book out, and I just finished it. So tell Arsenio we need him on my show.
Well, he was on the Paramount lot when KCAL first started.
Okay.
So we used to run down there all the time. In fact, I was on his show a couple of times, just making a little special appearance.
Right?
It was the most wonderful experience.
It
So that's
always
for
looked
you
like
to
it
bring up
was.
his
Yeah.
name. That's why I asked you that. And Arsenio, you need to come talk to me too. But he's a great guy.
Come talk to Pat, please. Thank you.
Gotta reach out. He's a great guy, but I love how you put all of these things together.
Yeah.
Looking on your pages, not just a page, but your
The multiple
pages,
pages.
you have interviewed some of the biggest names in Hollywood. So I want to ask you, is there anyone that's left you starstruck?
Who has left me starstruck? I think I remember having a conversation with Don Lemon during the GLAAD Awards, and I remember as life has been lifing for all of us, it was beautiful to hear him in just a really beautiful space. And also, I'll say Oprah. I didn't have the opportunity to interview her, but I got to meet her at an event here in LA, and it was beautiful to have a conversation through someone else just about how do you make it as a creative and just investing in yourself and building those type of conversations. So.
Well, you make everybody comfortable. And when I say he's interviewed some of the biggest stars in Hollywood, he has.
Yeah.
But you do. You make everyone comfortable to talk to you, and you seem to be so engaged in the moment.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to say, well, Oprah, of course.
Yeah, of
But
course.
even Don, I'm sure he would appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he appreciated you, because you are certainly talking about coming up in that space.
Yeah.
Oh, I could definitely see it happen.
I learned something though, Pat, is that whenever I'm interviewing people, I want to humanize the conversation. And humanizing it in a way of whenever I start talking, I always ask, how are you and how's your heart?
That's good.
You know, and resetting the stage, whether it's a red carpet that I'm doing or if it's an interview, because we're all going through great things, horrible things, beautiful things, whatever things. And if you ask someone how's their heart, it just kind of resets the conversation in the moment. And then it just allows you to understand that I see you.
You know, I should ask you, why did you not go into reporting and journalism?
I should have, honestly.
Well,
You know what I
you did
really
what you-
thought about is when I was in North Carolina, I think the scary part about the job is having to move to like a really small city
to start.
to start. So, and shout out to everybody in Tennessee and Idaho and all of the things. I just did not want that lifestyle, right? And I remember living in North Carolina, they always told me I had to go to Wilmington, and I didn't want to go to Wilmington to do the weather and all of the things. And so now as social media has evolved, we're able to have these conversations everywhere, right? With people like you and seeing you win your award, right? And honoring you and all the beautiful things that you have done. It's allowed me to tell people's stories that don't get to be seen ever.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. And the reason I asked you that is because to me, as far as journalism is concerned, when you can connect with people,
Yeah.
and I like that question about how is your heart. I'm sure that would give anybody pause. I don't care
It does.
who it is, from presidents on down. That is what a question.
Yeah.
How is your heart?
How's your heart?
Okay. Well, let me ask you about your work ethic. You said it doesn't come from ambition, but it comes from purpose and consistency. So how has that mindset helped you in your career?
So I look at my life in seasons. And I remember there was a season of my life that I was calling intention. And intention for me meant that how do you continue to live your life with intention, right? The things that I want to do, the places that I want to be. But now the season I'm in is called access. Who do I allow access to me?
Oh.
Who do I want access to? What opportunities do I want access with? You know, and I think we have to be able to put ourselves in these different boxes because to your earlier point, I want to make sure that I'm curating my schedule appropriately for me, but I also have a balance. And I know my work ethic really does come from my family. I look at my mother and father who've been married now over 40 plus years. And, you know, looking at the trajectory of their life has allowed me to understand what hard work really looks and feels like. Working early on, you know, at 15, 16 at the Old Navy. And now, you know, working, you know, it's always been in my blood and my genes. And so now, you know, when I'm around people and my team, I want everyone to make sure that one, what is your goal? What is your vision? How can I help you get there? But also, what is my own personal goal and vision? And giving myself a beat. Also, because we don't give ourselves these moments to breathe.
You're absolutely right about that. I love it. So your parents are obviously still very supportive.
Yes.
And very proud of you. Have they been out here to visit you? And
my mother and my aunt has. My father, my dad does not like the West Coast, so he is like, let me know when I can meet y'all maybe in Texas. Maybe we're halfway somewhere.
Oh, I love that. Now, we talked about how you got into fashion. You were so very interested at a young age. But how does fashion speak to you?
The stories of people like a mentor of mine who's no longer here, Andre Leon Talley. Andre Leon Talley had a story that he comes from Durham, North Carolina, like me. He speaks French just like me. And he was in rooms where he didn't see a lot of him. And so it meant that I wanted to make sure that I broke a lot of barriers as a person of color and a person that is not rarely seen in a position as an executive. And so I wanted to make sure that those stories were told, and I was also seen in those fashion spaces as well.
You know, you had some, when I think about some of the people that you trusted and believed in, you've met some remarkable people.
Yes.
So you've drawn from quite a few experiences. What a learning experience. I mean, from some of the best.
You have to, because I think if you can't be a dreamer, then what are you doing, right? And for me, my dreaming space comes from, again, I will always give you the credit. You've had decades of a career, and I've studied how you build relationships with people on the ground. You know, that's where I really look at people like you and respect people like you, because those are the real conversations, right? We see the celebrity and all of the things, and yes, we've all had those interviews. My most important interviews are whenever I'm talking to the everyday person that owns a coffee shop down the street, and their story is they struggle with their family to build this shop, and let's tell the everyday story so other people can align with that.
Jamir, this isn't about me, of course, but just saying, that's why I enjoy talking to people. I don't care what kind of where you are in the tier of celebrity-dumb presidents I've interviewed.
You have.
But you know what? I like to talk about them, not necessarily.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you what movie you're in, of course, because you're going to want to talk about that. But what do you like to do? Where do you come from? So that's what, when I'm listening to you talk, maybe that's why I know you can connect with people.
Always.
Because you certainly connected with me. And now I really, I'm finding out more and more why. So
you have to know your why, but also what's the with them, right? So for me, it is what is in it for me, but also what is in it for them, right? What is in it for me is that I'm able to capture the content. I'm able to get the interview. Those are the things that are great. What is in it for them is a humanized conversation of them being seen.
Absolutely, humanized conversation.
You have to have it because there's so many celebrities, there's so many writers and directors that want their stories told and they never ever will get to see the light of day. For me, to your earlier point, I've always aligned myself with legends and icons and the everyday person and their stories and how I can look up to them and say, I see myself doing that.
Because so many legends and icons started out as everyday people.
Absolutely.
Now, this is something that you've talked a lot about it, but when did you know that you could combine fashion, art, business, culture, and storytelling?
I knew that building relationships in the fashion world was the exact same thing that I can do in the journalism world. And I noticed that every single thing had alignment. And I wanted to marry the two. I was huge on social media because of my fashion, but also I wanted to dilute a little bit of that and focus more on the conversational piece of the people that I brought on. What I noticed was, and if anyone takes my little thing, I'm gonna get them. On the red carpets, if you're the most fashionable person, everyone will stop and talk to you.
If you're the most fashionable.
Absolutely.
Well, but they have to talk to you.
And then they always talk to me anyway. But I always want to make sure on the carpet, I always have on, the best whatever. But also what I have learned, and I've given this feedback to a lot of mentees that I have, be a pleasure to work with. Making sure that you are at least, completing the job, thanking people for the job, sending an email or a text message, showing up on time, all of the things. Because those are the things, to your point, about work ethic that means everything to me.
Well, that was my next question. What advice would you give to other creatives? And that's it. When we were at that the scholarship dinner, I heard a lot of stories of how some, especially younger people, feel unseen on the carpet or trying to, and this is obviously journalism students that are interested in entertainment, that they get so discouraged because nobody's stopping to talk to them, and they're always at the end of the line. What do you say to that? Just keep it moving, keep going?
Keep going. And I feel like we always keep hearing this thing, ooh, keep trying, it's gonna come. But at the end of the day, if you do keep focused and not worrying about the numbers of likes, how many people have viewed your page, going to the red carpet, just create the content. And something I've been heavily talking about to a lot of my friends, but also creatives is, Pat, get it out your phone. Get the content, get the music, get the photos, get it out your phone and start putting it out to the world, right? Life is already short. So at the end of the day, if you're not putting out the content, if you're not putting out the thing, then nobody will ever see it. And if one person sees it, then that means that one other person has seen it, then they can tell the next person and the next person. But you never know if it's just living in our computers and our phones.
I'm embarrassed about how many pictures I have on my phone. No, Jamir, your optimism is contagious. But I have to ask you, have you had setbacks or times that you thought that, you should have chosen another path?
No, ever.
Ever?
I knew that whatever path I was in was going to be in the media and the fashion spaces. I also knew that I wanted a show. I didn't know to what capacity. I just saw the Oprah Winfrey Show. I always saw the Arsenio Hall Show. I always saw you. I always saw the ones that I aligned myself with. And I said, I see myself on TV because they look like me and they're having the same humanized conversations that I have. But I realized that you cannot stop. And mine comes from making sure that I look at myself every single day and keep saying, you just got to keep going.
Gosh, but that, to do something like that, that is pretty, I'm going to say mentally tough.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's something maybe two of your parents help instill.
And therapy as well. Don't get crazy. Listen, shout out to the therapist. I need people to understand you better get you a therapist. Stop playing. Twice a month, thank you, depending on what I got going on.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, then I'm very glad that I asked the question.
Please, yes. Listen.
So honest.
We have benefits for those reasons,
Right.
and I need people to understand, It's
That's
great.
important, too.
It is. It's great to be able to have the conversations with friends and family. I like to have conversations with somebody that absolutely does not know me, because that means you have a very unbiased point. You have a point that you can actually give me very honest feedback. And I think, when we do talk to our friends and family, they're going to give a very personal opinion because they love us.
Right.
I don't need you to love me at this moment, right? I'm running a business.
Okay.
You did say something earlier, though, that I did think about, is that I have to give myself the grace.
Yes.
And there's a lot of times we don't give ourselves those grace because we're like, oh, when is it my time? And it's like, well, hold on. The universe has our time set and ready for us. Just wait.
So
you got it.
You have a spiritual center too.
I do.
Okay.
I
knew
do.
that was when you said that. Just wait.
Just wait.
The universe has a time.
Yeah.
What do you like to do in your downtime, whenever you have it?
I am trying to balance that. That has always been the challenge, right? I think, one, looking at ourselves and understanding what the opportunity is. My opportunity is making sure that I do make the me time. All my free time, I love art. I love trying new restaurants. I love building relationships with friends. I went to something last week that I thought was absolutely amazing. A huge shout out to Seen and Heard. Seen and Heard is an organization here in Los Angeles, and they curated a Black 90s television something.
Oh.
And within that, it was everyone commuting together, and we're just spouting out different television shows, and it was so amazing just to see community come together. Those are the times you don't have to look like a celebrity. You can have a good time with everybody, and you just act crazy for all of 45 minutes to an hour.
So you can do that.
I can do that.
You are not on all the time.
Not all the time. Not all the time.
You are so
a lot of
funny,
time,
too.
but not all the time. Yeah.
Well, I noticed you have, I'm going to get back to what I asked you about earlier. On one of your pages, there's a vignette from James Baldwin, renowned writer and civil rights activist who moved to Paris. Do you get inspiration from him?
Someone asked me the other day, Pat, what was one of my best interviews? I have over 311 segments. That means I've been talking a whole lot.
Yes, you have, but you can.
But we can, because you got millions and millions. I realized when I was in D.C., I was a part, this is the craziest thing ever. I've never told this story.
Good.
I was a part of the Turkish coalition in
Really?
D.C.
The Turkish coalition.
Don't ask me.
Oh.
And what's interesting about that is James Baldwin's sister-in-law was a part of it as well. And that's when I was starting out this journey of doing the interviewing process, and I was able to interview James Baldwin's sister-in-law.
Wow.
And that conversation, to your point, allowed me to look at James Baldwin in a whole different lens. I was able to see some unreleased photos of James that no one has ever seen, books that he read, and places that he had been, and understanding that when he went to Turkey and when he went to Paris and all of these places, we were able to see James peel back these layers he was as an activist, as a Black man, as a queer man, as a man who was just really fighting for causes that really helped out his people and people for the future. So,
Well, that's amazing.
yeah.
I do have to ask you,
Please.
the Turkish coalition, you were in
I
D.C.
know.
and you did work with politicians.
Yeah.
So were you invited?
I
Is
was
that-
invited. I was
Okay.
invited to the Turkish Coalition, and they allowed us to have like monthly meetings and just understanding like what does it look like. DC is a different beast. I learned living in DC, there are like 9 million organizations, and I
Right.
was just like, I have no idea what this Turkish Coalition is. And it was just amazing just to learn, even here in LA, right? I'm a part of the Television Academy. And to meet all of these emerging media artists and just people, I think is amazing. So
You have just immersed yourself then, no matter where you are.
yeah.
And those different experiences have really, obviously, blossomed for you and allowed you to be who you want to be and who
Yeah.
you are
Yeah.
in your spaces. What, as a creative, gives you the most joy? What work?
I always, and I sound like a broken record, but just meeting people.
Okay.
Learning their stories. I do an amazing job, and this is when you do. Listen, people say this a lot when they win awards and they pat themselves on the back. I pat myself on the back, by really understanding a person's story and really researching about a person and giving you the flowers and the honor that you deserve. And I remember there was a couple of people that were on my show and they did a couple of interviews that they did not like. And they came on my show and they said, wow, you gave me the honor of understanding I was a part of a foundation and an organization. How did you know this? And that's what the goal is. The goal is to make sure I honor you and tell your story the way that it deserves to be told.
So that gives you joy.
That gives me so much
honoring
joy.
other people.
Yeah, and asking that original question, how's your heart? Because again, you get to see people reset in the moment. I remember asking somebody on a red carpet, they were going through interviews and they get to me and I was like, oh, how are you? You're working on an amazing film. Before we get started, how's your heart?
And they weren't expecting
They said, I'm sorry, what?
I'm sure.
And I said, yeah, how's your heart? They were like, oh my God, no one's ever, I think it's good, you know? And so I love that I still get to be able to touch people wherever they need to feel seen in the moment. I love that.
And you listen to people.
That part.
But that's
Very
the most
well.
important part.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, of even in the work that we do as journalists, is to listen to
have
what
to.
people are saying.
Yep.
Anything next on your career path or something on the horizon that you really want to do?
Absolutely. So at the end of the month, April, I'm excited because I'm sitting on a panel with the National Association of Black Journalists.
Oh,
it's going to be in
wonderful.
Sacramento.
Okay.
And I'm sitting with an amazing panel of guests as we continue to talk about brand building in the Black media, in media itself. And then, of course, I am part of the media team or the opening of the Geffen. And so they're opening that additional art gallery at the Geffen. And then, gosh, May is huge because we're getting into Martha's Vineyard Film Festival that I'm excited about. And then, of course,
fabulous.
the American Black Film Festival then in Miami. So it's like the list keeps going. And then I'm planning for Art Basel in December.
Oh my goodness. So anything aspirational beyond what you're doing now?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to own a media company, a station?
Ooh. God, it sounds like
have you thought about that?
I thought about employing, you know what I think we have to do better is making sure that we're hiring the people that are already doing the things. So if there's somebody that works camera crew, hire them. If there's somebody that owns a bakery, hire them. And then how do we collectively just work together to actually just start these companies versus me doing it on my own? I think my goal is to make sure, one, I create a show that I'm able to keep telling stories like you. The conversation with Pat Harvey is absolutely amazing because I think you
Jamir, thank
do
you.
so well bringing on guests and allowing them to tell their stories, but also you get to see yourself now in a light that everyone has seen you in for so many years, right? You do well with the personal conversations, and that's what the evolution looks like for me. And then also moving to Paris. I want to be able to move to another country and tell stories abroad, right? I don't know if we've seen that before, right? Being able to be in different areas, living in Los Angeles, and then also moving to Paris and London and Tokyo and telling their stories because they deserve to have their stories told too.
All right, so you want to travel. So I'm going to say that's on your bucket list.
It's on my bucket list.
All right. Thank you.
Always.
Jamir, this was just wonderful talking to you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching The Conversation with Pat Harvey. Just make sure to check your YouTube page for future episodes.